thanks so much for joining me for this $300 luxury brand challenge. If you'd like to see that, please keep watching. Thank you first of all to Aniko Vida, who invited me to participate in this challenge, and also to Jill Crist, who is also in on this challenge. So thanks again for joining me if you are a regular viewer, and hello to those of you if you are joining me from either one of those channels. So this all started with a collaboration I did with Jill, and I can't remember if it was Aniko who commented or Jill. Somehow all three of us got in on an idea to collaborate with each other, which I'm really excited about because I know I've talked about Jill before and how much I love her and how much she really loves makeup, and I would buy anything from her. And she's just the kindest person, and I love her energy. She's super positive, and I just get so excited when her videos come up. I will watch them from beginning to end. I'm always so informed by what she has to say. And again, she's just the kindest person. So go watch her if you haven't. So if you haven't seen Aniko, she's a very elegant woman. Her skin is just flawless and beautiful, wonderful features, and she loves luxury beauty. And I love the information she provides. She's very thorough, gives you great swatches, and she's very detailed. So I love just hearing her talk. It's just so soothing. So I know some of you like to listen to my videos just for the soothing aspect of it. She has the same kind of quality to her videos. And again, she presents a lot of items that I don't, even though they are in the same luxury realm. So I think she's another great resource to go to if you have not watched her already. So again, thank you, Aniko, for inviting me to do this with you. I'm so thrilled that you asked me to do it. So the premise is, if you had $300 to spend on luxury beauty, which items would you pick? So I wasn't able to put together a whole face, but I really thought about what are the items that are in that luxury category that have maybe no competitors, even in other luxury brands, and certainly not in a non-luxury brand category. So what are those items that stand out as really special in terms of their performance and what they have to offer that I can't find anywhere else, and that's why I would spend my money on it? That's how I decided what items to pick. So again, it didn't come out to a full face. So what I did is I supplemented with non-luxury brand items. So I had done a drugstore haul. I don't know if you remember this. And I was gonna do a full face of drugstore makeup, but it just went so poorly. I didn't even film it. But the items that I did select for this, they were good. So they are not things that I pull for every day, but they're good enough that I would fill in with them. So I just wanna show you can do a high-low. Again, I prefer luxury brand beauty because having used it for a while now, I have that lens, and it is difficult to compete sometimes with the things that are really good. So you've got hits and misses, I know, on both ends, luxury and non-luxury brand, but the hits in the luxury brand realm are really good. I just want to let you know that's how I filled it in. Thanks so much for inviting me to do this. Make sure to go see Aniko's video and Jill's video, and if you'd like to see what I selected, please keep watching. So let's go ahead and start with a color corrector. I already have sunscreen on. I actually used this for the first time, the Color Science Unforgettable. This one doesn't have the same capabilities as the Even Up. This is a chemical-free, 100% mineral sunscreen. So if you're looking for one, it's very nice. So let's go ahead with the color corrector first. So this is the new Charlotte Tilbury one, the one I call a game changer because it does behave like an eraser for me. So this is the second in terms of lightest to deepest. Someone said they were surprised I didn't get the third one, the third deepest one. But actually I think this one's better because my concealer is a little bit deeper in shade, see in a moment, and it kind of helps balance that out. So I just tap it on. This is a Ray Morris concealer brush, and I feel like the best application I've had so far is using a concealer brush and patting it flat. So you can see right away the difference between this side and this side. It has a really great texture. It looks skin-like all day long, works really well with my concealer. So as you can see, I didn't actually apply foundation yet because I'm gonna use a powder foundation, which I don't normally do. But in all of the decisions I had to make in terms of the budget, there were some things that took up a lot of the budget really quickly. It didn't leave me much room to kind of include many things. So I had to cut corners, not cut corners, but I had to make some decisions about the foundation. And I went with a non-luxury brand foundation. I think you can get some good foundations that aren't luxury brand. So that's the color corrector. We're gonna go in next with the concealer. This is a cult favorite, the Clé de Peau concealer, and I'm sure you are not surprised, but I'm gonna show you what the mocha looks like on. It works really well with this color corrector just because they said color corrector is a little bit just a tad light for me, but this is also a tad deep for me. So there's a swatch. I mean, you can see it just goes, it blends really nicely into my, the hand. It blends really nicely into the color that I have on my hands, which is much deeper than my face. So that's why I need that to balance out. This comes in, let me just check. Yeah, this is the one that took up a bulk of my budget. Yeah, it comes in 6 shades. This one is $70. And this one has 25 SPF in it, which I appreciate because I try to keep the sun off these areas as much as possible. I'll actually use this under my eyes as well. I actually swatched 3 shades for you right now. I'll insert it because I have a little blister pack, which if you can get your hands on that blister pack sample at the counter, or I don't know if it's available online, but I kind of played around with mixing them together, and at first I thought maybe the ochre color was a better match, but this turned out to be the best one because I had a chance to use it for several days to see what it looked like. So if you have a chance and you're curious about it, I would definitely try out a few if you're not sure before you commit, because it is an investment, but it definitely pays off if you are like me and just want really nice concealing. The texture on this performs really well throughout the day. It looks super skin-like from the moment you apply it to the moment you take it off at night. Back to this Charlotte Tilbury, just to warm it up a little bit. I do just like to tap with my fingers because that pushes the product in without lifting too much. You can use a beauty blender, but it will lift some of that product off. So it depends on how dense you want it to be. So I didn't, again, put foundation. I am gonna go in now though with foundation. I'm using this, and I'm not counting this as a luxury product because I don't even really know what category it goes in, but I'm gonna say there are many choices that are not luxury that you could go with, but this is just the Color Science. It's the powder foundation. Oh my goodness, and a lot comes out, just know if you want to use that. A lot comes out, and I'm just buffing it on. On to a luxury brand. This is something I've been using for years. This is probably my 7th to 10th pan of this, and it's not a surprise if you've been here before. It is the Ambient Lighting Powder Radiant Light Hourglass. I'm still testing out some other finishing type powders that have illuminating effects to them, but I just keep going back to this. Yeah, I just keep going back to this because it's so reliable. So I'm just gonna stamp it on. It just takes that makeup-y look away from makeup. I will use it on top of a regular foundation just to kind of brighten everything and give it some radiance without being like too dewy to the touch. So I just sweep it on like this, and it helps meld everything together. I may go in again with it after using some other products, but that's definitely a thing that I don't skip. I feel like I've been sitting over here the whole time. Let me skip over. So that's definitely something I don't skip when it comes to daily makeup. I'm always finishing off with that. Okay, next we're gonna go in with the brows. Now this first step is not a luxury brand. I've talked about it before. It's just the, what is it called? This is just the Wonder Brow, hello, product that I talk about all the time. So we'll just fast forward through this. Then this is a newer product, but it's one that I think is the best brow product out there. It is the Dior Pump and Brow. And I love it because of the shade, first of all. So the shade has to be correct. Then it's the amount of product that comes out. It's not too much and it's not too little. I find that with many of the brow products, it's like unpredictable how much brow product comes out. And this is one of those things that when you get ready in the morning, if this gets messed up, it's it takes a lot longer to fix it than, say, I don't know, your eyeliner getting off. Not winged liner, but like a regular eyeliner. Yeah, this is a lot harder to correct in a pinch. So I like that it's consistent in terms of the amount that comes out. I've tried other products where it's like too much and then it's your brows look way too intense. But that one's just an easy one. This one comes in 5 shades. Again, I like the coolness of this and it keeps my brows in place all day long. I'm just so impressed with it and it has become a definite staple. I've used other high-end eyebrow products and I feel like they were kind of like, I feel like those had a much softer hold. They didn't really do anything in terms of keeping my brows in place or holding them in place. Brows make such a huge difference in the way your makeup looks and just the overall framing of your face. So it's an important step to invest in and make sure that it really works. So for me, this one really works. And I have hairs that like to do their own thing and go in different directions. So I require something with a bit more hold than maybe other people. So it's kind of like the hair on my head. I don't have very many hairs, but the hairs that I have are coarse and thick. So definitely need something to tame them. Next, we're gonna go in with a product that's fairly new. Oh, I kind of went heavy on the brows, didn't I? Oh, that's okay. It'll all balance out. This next product is a bit newer. It's the Sisley-Paris Eye Twist in 11. Actually, when I put this list together, the eyes were the last, and I think I had a budget of like $58 left, or $52, something like that. And the Dior palettes and the Chanel palettes and the Tom Ford ones were all above that. So I thought, oh yeah, let me just use this eyeshadow stick because I love eyeshadow sticks anyway. And I think they're so multi-purpose because I'm gonna use this as kind of an eyeliner and blow it out below. And I'm just gonna use one color here. So this is kind of quick and easy as well. I've been using this daily. But you can see how it blends out really easily. Beautiful color. This one has, I looked up how many shades. There are a lot of shades in this one. 15 shades. So I'm gonna take it below. The only criticism I've read about this one so far is that, as you can see, the end is getting a little bit rounded. So it's a little hard to work with if you wanna use it as an eyeliner. I'm putting the waterline here. This has a nice shimmer to it. There are a few isolated, very fine glitter pieces in here. I mean, I don't want to say pieces, but you can see them if you look really closely, that there are some very tiny glitter particles, and I don't love glitter, so if it doesn't bother me, then it's pretty mild. I'm gonna go in next with some non-luxury items. Does that sound right? I'm gonna go in with some non-luxury item products. What does that sound weird? I'm gonna go in with some non-luxury products next for eyeliner and mascara. I'm just gonna list them below because I know if you're here, you probably like luxury products, but I also wanted to show how you can mix them in with non-luxury products, but I also know you probably don't want to hear about them too much, so I'll list them below if you want to know what they are. Okay, so I'm gonna do eyeliner and I'll be right back. Oh, eyeliner and mascara, I'll be right back. Okay, so I did use some bronzer and highlight and blush eyeliner as well, and those are all from a drugstore haul that I did. I was planning on doing a full face of drugstore one day, but I hauled everything, tried everything out, and most of it was disappointing, but the ones that I'm using are things that I think are okay. I mean, they're good, but given my choice, I would still go with their luxury brand counterparts. But they're good enough to just use in terms of a high-low combination. Those are things that I would say, okay, those ones are things that I would probably recommend. Probably. I don't use them enough though, but they performed well the couple times I used them. So that's why I thought I'd try and balance this out. So I thought maybe if I tried to use non-luxury items, if I if I wasn't spending them in the $300 budget, that might be a good illustration. So that's why I did that. Okay, now on to the lipstick. So when it comes to luxury, lipstick is one of those things that I feel like they really do it well because of the way it applies, because of the way that it wears. I think that is probably one of the biggest things. How it wears over time. Does it still look good after a few hours? Because many lipsticks look great upon initial application, but don't necessarily last long enough. Another thing is the color selection. I think you get a more precise selection when it comes to luxury brands. And when I say precise, I mean red can be difficult for me, so I'm looking for something that has a little bit of warmth in it, but not too much that it looks orange or poppy. So I've talked about this one before, 103 Legend, Clé de Peau is the perfect red, and I would be hard pressed to find another version of this, probably even in another luxury line. I've seen some that are close. In fact, the Giorgio Armani one that I recently did, that I featured, was close to this, but the finish wasn't the same. This is a cashmere lipstick. So this is a really neat challenge because a $300 budget doesn't actually take you very far when it comes to luxury brands because of the price point, obviously. So it really makes you prioritize what's important to you and which things really perform better than other non-luxury brands. So for me, it's complexion, and then I think about the eyebrows. And then from there, it's probably gonna be the lip color, even though mascara is the thing that I would put on. If I had three things, it'd be concealer, brows, and mascara. But we'll get to the mascara in a little bit. Let's just start with the complexion part. So evening out the skin tone is the most important part to me. So this color corrector was key because I need a color corrector to take care of those darker areas before I go in with a concealer. As you can see, with the color corrector, I was able to conceal pretty well without even putting foundation on. Even though I used a powder foundation, I think if I skipped that part, I think I still might have been okay. So this color corrector, again, comes in 4 shades, performs better than any color corrector I've used, and I've used many. The last one that I was loving was the Urban Decay. That one set really nicely, but this sets even better. It has even better coverage, and it's kind of a blend between the peach and the deep peach if you've tried those Urban Decay ones. So I don't have to blend anymore. So this is perfect for my skin tone right now. If I'm a little bit more tan, I would have to get the next deeper shade just to kind of balance everything out. Then this was really the thing that I started my list with, was this Clé de Peau concealer. So what this has over any other concealer I've ever tried is that its skin-like texture, once it's applied, remains like that the entire time you wear it. Weather can impact it. If it's hot and my makeup in general is sliding around, this too will kind of slide around. But if I use a primer, like the Tatcha primer, then this does wonderfully with it. Again, it's got that SPF 25 in it, and I just go back to this for it to perform. In addition, it also doesn't oxidize or change color over time. Some concealers that I use will look really great the first couple of hours, and then by the end of the day, it's way more green, or it's really sticking out here as not the same shade as everything else that I'm wearing. So it interacts with other elements. This one doesn't do that. It's pretty stable in terms of the color you have in the morning is the color you have in the evening. Only thing I wish is that they had a more broad range. Mocha is the deepest shade, and I'm not even that tan right now. I know they've recently included some deeper shades in one of their foundation lines. I think it's the Radiant Fluid Foundation, and I wish that they would extend their line for this concealer so that it could be accessible to everybody, because it does perform above and beyond most concealers that I've used. So it's one of those things too that if you watched my first impression of this, I wasn't as impressed. It does take a little bit of a learning curve to get it to work well for you. I know my friend Mandy Davis has talked about it before and how she applies it. She does not apply it directly, and I think maybe in that video I was applying it directly. It does deposit quite a bit, but depending on how much you need, you might need that much. Like I would consider doing that here on my darker areas, but applying it to my hand and then with a brush seems to be the best way to kind of regulate the amount that I'm putting on. And also that brush is key to getting it on. Not that brush. The flat brush seems to work well with these two in combination. I do like a fluffy brush to apply concealer sometimes, and also a beauty blender, but right now I've been loving using this flat Rainbows brush. That one's really great. Then moving on, so we talked about foundation a little bit. I feel like there are many options for foundation. It seems like company is able to get that one right in some form or another in the many ranges that they offer. There are also a lot of misses in luxury brand foundations as well. So I think you can go really well or really not well in both high-end and non-luxury brands. So that one was a place where I could compromise. Plus I know a lot of people don't actually wear foundation, which I appreciate. I wish I didn't have to, but this is a very nice way to kind of have a hybrid foundation without it being too foundation-y. So you get a little bit of sunscreen too. Eyebrows, this eyebrow product reminds me a lot of the glossy boy brow, but not as thick. It also deposits again quite evenly. It's very consistent. When you take the wand out, the amount of product you get is typically the same as it was the last time. Then onto the Sisley eye product. I love a good eyeshadow stick. That was a really great thing to highlight because you can double it up as an eyeliner. I did emphasize it a little bit more with some other eyeliners, but it's also waterproof, and I feel like it's just such a quick and easy item to use and something you'll probably use up. So that's another thing with luxury brands. Typically I don't use everything, but when it comes to an eyeshadow stick, I will use this all the way to the end. So I think that's a really great investment because I think it's something you'll use. It's quick and easy, very easy to travel with as well. So I feel like with eyeshadow sticks, you can't go wrong if you find a good one. So I think that's a great place to go. Plus, there are so many eyeshadow palettes out there that are beautiful, but it is harder to find a good eyeshadow stick, I think. And I've tried many. I think I've done 2 videos on eyeshadow sticks and kind of my experience with them. And I just love them anyway. So I feel like you can't go wrong with a good eyeshadow stick, and this is a very good one. Plus, I love the shade. Oh, 2 other things. This Hourglass product just has no competitor in my mind in terms of what it can do to really filter those imperfections and just get a really nice glow on your face. Finally, lipstick. I think, again, lipstick shade is key here. I find that the selection of more specific shades, gosh, I really don't know how else I can say that. But if you are looking for a particular shade, it's really difficult to find a dupe for the shade that you want in a luxury brand line. So I picked this one because I think this shade is just the perfect red for me, and it's difficult to find a red. And I love the performance on this. I feel like this lipstick can change the entire look of your makeup, and that's why I think that it's such an important piece. And I feel like with this one, it does something to my skin. So not only is it a great color, but it also impacts the overall look of my complexion and the finish of my makeup. And I don't know what magic is in here to make that do that, but I don't get that with any other shade. So for me, this one shade and this one finish by Clé de Peau is definitely worth the, I think this is almost as much as the concealer. Yeah, I think this is 70 and this is 65. I'll put all the prices down below, but you will see that I was able to make it in under $300. Again, I had to make some compromises with some things and really pick out the items that were the most bang for their buck and things that I think you cannot find in even other luxury brand lines, let alone non-luxury brands. So again, thank you, Aniko, for inviting me to do this challenge. It was really fun. And thanks again to Jill for participating. I think this will be really fun to see all 3 of us and what we picked, because I know, and Aniko had a good thought about this, that each of us love luxury brands, but we all focus on maybe something a little bit more different. So you'll probably see other luxury brands focused in on their videos, and it'll be really, really interesting to see what they picked, because as you can see, I only had a handful of items. Again, $300 doesn't get you very far, so you're very, very selective when it comes to what you want to highlight. So I cannot wait to see there. So again, if you joined me from either one of those channels, Thank you so much. I'd also love to know which ones you would pick if you only had $300 to spend, because I know you are luxury beauty lovers. So again, if you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.